In the early 20th century, during the demolition of a forgotten building in an old European city, workers uncovered something that did not exist on any official blueprint. Beneath layers of stone and mortar lay a sealed chamber, airtight, untouched, and deliberately hidden. When the entrance was forced open, it revealed not treasure, not gold, but knowledge. Hundreds of wooden crates stood in rows, covered in dust thick enough to measure the passing of decades. Inside them were thousands of preserved specimens, anatomical sketches, field journals, and detailed biological diagrams. The archive belonged to a reclusive naturalist who had dedicated his life to investigating the boundary between legend and biology. He believed myths were not inventions, but distorted memories of real species. The theory of lost species. According to the documents found inside the chamber, ancient ecosystems may have been far more diverse than modern science allows. The archivist cataloged creatures that resembled beings from folklore not as magical spirits, but as biological organisms with anatomy, classification, and ecological roles. Large winged reptiles were described in strict anatomical language. Their ability to emit flame was explained not as magic, but as a chemical reaction produced by specialized glands, a combustible secretion igniting upon exposure to oxygen. Small humanoid skeletons with delicate bone structures suggested evolutionary adaptations for dense forest canopies. Their wings, according to the notes, were membranous extensions supported by elongated finger bones similar to bats. Every entry was written in clinical detail. No mysticism. Only measurements. Survivors of a different timeline. More controversial were the claims regarding prehistoric reptiles. The archive suggested isolated ecosystems. Remote jungles, polar regions, inaccessible mountain valleys may have sheltered relic populations long after their supposed extinction. Descriptions reference small ceratopsian creatures discovered in tropical regions in the early industrial era. The preserved tissue samples, according to the journals, showed incomplete decomposition, implying recent death rather than fossilization. The archivist theorized that extinction may not have been a single global catastrophe, but a gradual collapse driven by changing microorganisms, fungal outbreaks, and environmental shifts. In his view, history was not linear. It overlapped. Mimicry and hidden civilizations. Among the most unsettling documents were those discussing advanced mimicry. Certain species, he argued, survived not by strength, but by blending in. Some resembled humans closely enough to avoid detection. Others developed behavioral intelligence rivaling early civilizations. Sketches depicted elongated skulls, hybrid anatomical traits, and evidence of structured societies. The archivist warned that ancient conflicts recorded in legend may reflect competition between parallel branches of intelligent life. He never claimed monsters ruled the world. He claimed we never ruled it alone. The polar findings. One section described artifacts brought back from a polar expedition, fragments of non-human architecture buried under ice, biological specimens adapted to extreme pressure and cold, and anatomical structures unlike any catalogued species. Radial symmetry. Copper-based blood pigments. Amphibious physiology. The notes carefully avoided speculation. Instead, they asked a simple question. What if ancient myths were cultural memories of contact? Why was it hidden? The archive contained no calls to panic, no dramatic accusations. Only a recurring theme: knowledge reshapes power structures. If humanity was never biologically alone. If history was edited for stability. If ecosystems were once shared. Then textbooks would not simply need revision. They would require reconstruction. The archivist sealed his work not to destroy it, but to preserve it for a future generation capable of questioning inherited certainty. Final reflection. Whether the archive represents suppressed truth, elaborate fabrication, or misunderstood science remains uncertain. But the sheer organization, anatomical precision, and systematic classification suggest something deeper than fantasy. History may not be wrong. It may simply be incomplete. And somewhere beneath the surface of accepted knowledge, sealed away in forgotten chambers, the past waits, not as myth, but as evidence.